Now, with the new song Kendrick Lamar just released into the rap world, he has once again put the genre into a state of shock like few other people within his space ever have even had the power to, because with this new track, beyond the presence of Kendrick returning in this moment in time after the biggest musical conflict arguably ever, Kendrick has not let this success or victory make him the slightest bit complacent, and with this new song, it really seems like it's only energized him even more, because with these three verses Kendrick delivers in this cut, when we understand everything they are saying and alluding to, the song cements itself as one of the most important tracks lyrically that rap has seen in years, and in all honesty, that title may change to all time in the coming months because with what Kendrick Lamar is saying here and mapping out, just like we saw on his track 616 in LA, which served as a prelude to how Kendrick was gonna take Drake's name, career, and reputation and just shatter it. With this track that Kendrick did not give a name, it's functioning in the same way as 616 did at the most important time in the Drake beef, but now, Kendrick is no longer focused on just taking down Drake and humiliating him. But his sights are now onto something much more important that has even bigger consequences than any duel between just two artists ever could, because with what Kendrick is saying on this song, he's welcoming us into a new chapter and what feels like the part 2 of his master plan that he has been executing since March of this year, and now as Kendrick hints to the future of his career and what's to come next on this cut, he ends up revealing that he has an album on the way that will be dropping sometime soon. As through the greater story being told on this song, he reveals what the concept and theme throughout this entire chapter of his career will be, which of course, will end up being what his upcoming album is going to be about, because as Kendrick declares that it's time for the party to die on this song, he tells us what this new album is directly being built on, as he is declaring battle on the entire landscape of hip-hop right now, and really beyond just this, all of the music industry as a whole, and this isn't just supposed to be symbolic or in a way for him to try and flex to make the song sound better, but Kendrick is 100% serious about taking a torch to the institution that is the music industry and hip-hop today and tearing it all down. And now if you needed any more confirmation that this is what Kendrick's next album is going to be about, we ended up finding out something really important recently that ties together how this album may sound and who may be a major collaborator on it, as on social media, none other than Nas posted about Kendrick Lamar playing at the Super Bowl and alluded to the fact that he can't wait to watch the party die in the near future. And now, out of all people, Nas saying this is super significant, and based on the way Kendrick has created so many of his albums to be narrated by some sort of figure to steer the theme, whether it was Kodak on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, his family members on Good Kid Mad City, or Tupac on To Pimp a Butterfly, it seems like Nas may be the voice of reason for this next album, because as Nas almost hints to what Kendrick is doing, but in a way like he knows more than he's actually letting on to, things seem like they could be lining up for him to be a part of what Kendrick is trying to do in some capacity, because if we do go back in time to the year 2006, it is important to note that despite Nas being seen as a figurehead of rap music and maybe the most pivotal and integral rapper of all time, which in of itself for the concept Kendrick is going for would be super symbolic, Nas also did make a similar statement of what Kendrick is trying to do now with his project Hip Hop Is Dead. So now with this parallel only adding more momentum to this new Kendrick Lamar record and era, all roads are leading to the fact that Kendrick is going to be ripping off the band-aid on rap music and addressing all of the blemishes in the genre that some have been pretending don't exist. And now with such a tall order, Kendrick definitely knows that it's going to take a full body of his most passionate and shocking material ever to make the statement he wants to, because already with how Black Air Forces is written and how the story is told, Kendrick lines it out with some of the most shocking and ruthless things he's ever said, that he is sick of the way hip-hop culture and rap music have been diluted into this thing that doesn't represent what he once loved at all. And on top of this, how he despises the culture that seemed to be perpetrated throughout the entire music industry of inauthenticity, label corruption, and behind-the-scenes manipulation. And now as Kendrick has dropped this song right when one of the biggest industry events of the year in the VMAs was going down and so many of the biggest names in music were in attendance, if Kendrick dropping the Not Like Us music video while Drake and so many of the biggest names in all of pop culture rap Michael Rubin's White Party wasn't enough, it's clearer than ever that Kendrick is making these moves as a calculated attack against the machine that has tried to sanitize and feed us the worst type of stuff possible. And now looking at what Kendrick did in the first half of this year against Drake, with everything Kendrick is doing now, we fully see that while Kendrick hates Drake and definitely wanted to destroy him in a rap beef to end any sort of debate of them ever being compared to each other, it's clear that after a decade of subliminals and jabs, Kendrick used this moment in time to set things off like we have never seen, because this was all part of his plan for this album and era, and is key to the rollout because at the very top of the music industry, and specifically hip-hop and what's wrong with it today, Drake has represented the worst parts of this art form and has been the main guy responsible for this shift in the culture that has caused rap to look like something it was never intended to be. And now, while Kendrick is past dissing Drake in the same way that he did on tracks such as Not Like Us and Meet the Grams, just as he alludes to ending Drake and changing the tides in hip-hop because of it on this song, Kendrick is definitely not done with Drake, because now he is going to use this battle against Drake and the trophy he holds for beating him over and over again in this era of his career, not to use Drake for attention like his fans want you to believe, or to try and start a round 2 after already beating him like DJ Academics is trying to convince people of. But now it's to show this victory and stand on it as a statement to the rest of the music industry to tread lightly, because as Kendrick comes outside more and releases more music, he clearly wants everyone to know that this party that has turned hip-hop over the past few years, especially into this strange place where gimmicks are being prioritized over everything, rappers who don't respect the culture and who can't actually rap are getting the most label funding, and now because of this, sales are down across the board and people are losing interest in the greater rap landscape. This is all coming to an end, and because Kendrick has defeated Drake and made him unable to even find chart success anymore, I'm sure with a lot more depth and exploration, and maybe even based on tracks like this most recent one in Meet the Grams, Kendrick may have a lot more shocking things to reveal to us about the inner workings of this industry and some of the biggest players trying to dictate it. But overall, while we don't know what Kendrick is going to do when it comes to actually achieving this goal of destroying rap in an attempt to save it, what I do think is certain is that based on everything we have seen from him this year, Kendrick is not just going to come with the quality needed to make an album that is going to explore something that is so significant to music, but that he will also bring the shock value needed to get the message to ring throughout all corners of the pop culture world today, because at the end of it all, while Kendrick Lamar is now choosing the toughest battle he has ever had in his entire career, as he is literally trying to take down the entire music industry and rap landscape as we know it, as insane and impossible of a task as that may seem like, within this moment in time, the skill he brings, the information he clearly holds, and most importantly, with the power and will of the people behind his back, I would not count him out in this situation, and if anybody has learned anything throughout this year, I don't think anybody else will. So all in all, while everything will be in the air as we wait to see how Kendrick Lamar follows this moment up, I think we can all agree that his upcoming album is one of the most anticipated rap projects we have had this entire century, and with the ground that he's trying to walk on, if he can even accomplish a fraction of this goal, it may just end up being one of the most important rap albums of all time. So now with all that said, let me know, what are your expectations for Kendrick's upcoming album and this entire era of his career? And do you think he is really going to be able to end this party that is the joke we call the music industry today and the landscape of rap at the moment? Now I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And now if you want to see how Drake just responded to this new Kendrick Lamar track that has declared all of this, check out the suggested video.